Go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories by the Campfire. We are your hosts this evening, the counselors Jason
Jeremy.
and today we are welcoming you to a very, very special episode. It is the first, it is a new year, and that brings many new things.
That's right. We counting down
Counting down, what are we counting down to, Jeremy?
the top 5 best movies we watched this year and the top 5 worst movies we watched this year.
Oh, that Jeremy, that's gonna be that is gonna be a lot to go through. You do realize that, right?
I'm not saying we gotta say why. We just say, what they are.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and look at my list.
Well, I already have it all pulled up for us.
Okay.
So,
And oops, I closed out of everything. Didn't mean to actually do that. Let's I'm pretty sure we got some fans out there also who would like to chime in on some of their favorite movies and some of the worst movies that they've seen. Oh, sweet freaky's up. So Jerry, out of your top five movies, what do you want to start with, Jeremy? Do you want to start with the worst or the best? Because sometimes the worst is sometimes funnier to go through. Okay, hold on. I'm having no. What the? Okay, what happened to my? Oh wait, hold on. There it is. My headsets. It's always something. Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Try this now. This is so silly. Let's see here. See, I just had you going for a second there, and now I can't hear you at all.
so,
Wait, got it.
yeah, see?
It's this headset. I'm gonna have
I
to
don't
probably.
I don't think so. Buck Hunter was like, you're lip syncing. And I kind of was. But, so, let's do the top 5 best. Would you like to kind of know what we went through?
All right, top five.
So
Oh,
we started the year with the back half of the Resident Evil movies. Then we did Valentine. Then we did Jeepers Creepers, Death Spa, The Cleanse, Pet Cemetery, Antlers, the Rob Zombie trilogy, The Two Descents. All
wait, so this. So which ones are we doing? The best or the worst?
we're doing we're doing the best.
Okay.
All the Scream movies, White Zombie, Late Night with the Devil, the Psycho movies, and Freaky. So
That was it.
that was it. Yes, Clayton. Yes, we will be doing the Leprechaun series at some point.
Okay, so let me see here.
So number 5 for me. Number 5, and you're gonna hate me for it,
I'm sure I will.
but I don't care. House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna hate you for that one. I'm not gonna hate.
I'm
you
not
for that
saying The
one.
Devil's Rejects. I'm not saying Through from Hell. I'm saying House of a
I was
Thousand
about-
Corpses.
I was about to say if you came at me with like, my number 5th favorite movie is Three from Hell, I was gonna be like, yeah, now I'm gonna hate you, Jeremy. There's so much better ones out there. Why would you do that?
I loved House of a Thousand Corpses.
I will give you that. House of a Thousand Corpses is not a bad one. Now I'm not saying that the series itself got better, but yes, that one was a.
It was different. It was.
Oh, so we had a couple of the Resident Evil movies tied in there too.
Yes, the end of the Resident Evil movies.
Valentine, Jeepers Creepers. Okay, I got come to the list right here in front of me now.
Cool.
Okay, so
You're number 5.
oh, my number five. My number five is going to be. My number five. I'm just gonna go with. Oh man, I'm gonna go with The Descent.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
five for me is The Descent because it was a movie I hadn't seen before, and it was definitely a movie that made me feel. Now, it wasn't a movie that was like, oh my god, I'm scared, or oh my god, it made me feel for the characters and whatnot or anything like that. It wasn't like the most, story-driven movie. I mean, it was a good story, but just the feel of being in a claustrophobic environment like that and making me. I remember specifically. I was sitting there watching that one by myself, and I don't have a problem watching horror movies by myself. Like I said, I'm still looking for that one movie that will make me sleep with the lights on, but watching that movie by myself with the lights off, I'm under a blanket, okay? Pardon me if I sound kind of nasally. I've been sick the last couple of days, but I was sitting there watching, and I had a blanket. I'm sitting on the bed. I got the blanket draped over me, and I'm watching the movie. And when they get to that scene, and I'm always going to remember that scene where they're having to crawl through that barely man-sized hole, and they're on their hands and knees, and they're crawling, and the one girl gets stuck, and they're having to come in there and kind of pull her. I'm throwing the blanket off at this point because I'm going, mercy me, I can't breathe myself. I'm not like the most claustrophobic guy. If you put me in like something that's about that size, but I can see that there's an ending, there's an exit, that's great. But you're talking about going down into a cave. You're talking about crawling through what could possibly be underwater. And you can't even be guaranteed that there's an exit. You crawl through this hole, you get to the end, and then it's just a dead end. You got to back your way back out. At that point, I'm like, no, thank you. I'm just gonna die.
Well,
So, yes, that right there is top 5 for me because it was definitely a movie that made me go,
okay.
I can't do this.
So, number 4, Jason. What's your number 4?
My number 4. We're just gonna skip right back to me and go to number 4. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna go with Freaky.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Freaky as being my top fourth one. I'm looking at the list right now, and a lot of these movies are just kind of movies per se. I know a lot of them I picked, they were like really long series, but I'm gonna tell you that yes, Freaky is my number 4 because of the fact that it is a comedy. It is horror strewn throughout. It made you laugh. It was well written. The acting was phenomenal in it, I believe. And coming off of like the Psycho remake, it just being like Vince Vaughn, and they come in this and going Vince Vaughn. Yes, it's just definitely. Sorry if you hear some sort of strange background noise. My cat is freaking out in the corner. But yes, it is definitely like a. It was definitely a highlight. It's definitely one of the better movies that we've done. It was actually the last one we did before this. So, definitely a very fun, exciting movie.
My number 4,
What is your number 4, Jeremy?
White Zombie.
White Zombie. Interesting. Why?
Bela Lugosi. Like, so it being like your introduction into zombie movies, like before George A. Romero kind of pioneered the genre and created Night of the Living Dead and stuff like that. Like, this was your zombie movie. It was different. You know, it was the first black and white that we watched on the channel. And like I said, Bela Lugosi was just great, especially his creepy stare where he's just like,
Yeah, it's I can see why, because when you think of a zombie movie, you're thinking, of course, you're thinking of Romero. You're thinking of your modern day zombies, the shambling corpses like your Walking Dead, where they're going around, they're eating people and that kind of stuff.
no, he had these ones making sugar cane.
And the thing about it is that I come to find out that they're not actually. I think when we went back and kind of did the review on it or whatever, they weren't actually zombies, because from what I understand in folklore and that voodoo, please don't shoot me because I'm not entirely sure where it comes from, but I'm pretty sure it's Haitian
It is.
in general. Their zombies were, I believe, people who came back they would bring them back from the dead, but they were more like, they weren't like mindless zombie killing machines. They were brought back and you give them directions and they would do stuff. They were really undead. But in this movie, come to find out, he's just using something that puts someone in a near-death hypnotonic state.
Yep.
So we were watching the movie, and as Jeremy said, he was making sugar cane with him or whatever he was doing with him. That one fell in the mix. And we're just like, oh God, he died again. And then by the end of the movie, you're going, oh my God, that was a living person. It was, being used as slave labor, and he just fell in.
Yeah, Jace, are we sure that was your cat and not a poltergeist?
The cat might be playing with a poltergeist. She is like just all over the place right now.
Well,
But
my number 3,
okay, what's your number 3?
Scream.
Scream. Oh, you know what?
Scream.
Which Scream though? Was it just the first one? Just the
Oh,
first one?
OG. Oh,
Okay.
OG. Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, Jamie Kennedy, Nev Campbell. Like,
Okay, yeah. See,
God, it's so good.
that's where you and I were about to hit the same page, because I was about to go. Scream was number 3 for me, but you know what? I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. Because a lot of these movies I'm looking at, they all started off really good, and then why? So just Scream because it's a classic?
Yeah, it's a classic. It redefined the horror genre and it gave it the tropes that we all know and love. I mean, when you got Randy sitting on the couch going, "Turn around, Jamie. Turn around, he's right behind you." And you have Ghostface literally like just coming in behind him doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
Like, it was that, yeah.
That was.
And the twist ending, of course, with having 2 killers instead of just the one. It's one of those slasher flicks that the killer is a real person. Like, it's just a real person. Well, real people.
Yeah, it's. What was it, number 3?
Yes.
Oh man, there's so much to choose from on this list. Number 3. Number 3. I'm gonna have to give it to Pet Sematary.
The OG or the remake?
The OG, of course, the OG. I mean, okay, so
With, I cannot think of the actor's name.
yup.
God dang it. Plays,
Yes,
plays it My Cousin Vinny. Oh my God.
Herman Munster.
Yes. PJ, who is it? You know the actor. Type it out for me.
The the thing about this movie, and comparatively to the remake, I feel personally, I feel that the remake,
That's it. Fred Gwynn.
the separation between the two is that I think in the remake some of the acting was better. Okay, in the remake, but I personally believe that even with some of the slightly less acting in the original, Fred gave out an amazing performance. Okay, he gave out an amazing performance, standout performance. It was in the remake.
Oh, that's it's or not dirty. Footloose. Oh God.
Oh, okay. So
PJ, give me can't. Who's the priest? And the pastor in Footloose. You're not allowed to dance.
Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so the acting in the second one or in the remake was a little bit better in my opinion from the other cast members. Now I'm not I'm trying to think of the actual character's name.
Jed.
Jed, yes. So Jed in both movies I felt was just perfectly acted out. They both have their similarities and they have their differences, right? But I think in both movies they're played out perfectly. But the other cast members in the remake I felt did a little bit better in the acting department, but I picked the original because it stays so close to the book. I mean, there is a lot of substance and details that
John Lithgow. John Lithography? I don't think that's his name.
Yes, I do love the performance of John
Lithography?
Lithography. But the original sticks truer to the books. There's a lot of details that's missing from the book that they don't interpret into the movie. But I do think that the movie itself is a truer representation of what the book transpires, and I think the remake takes a lot of liberties. And I'm not saying that they're bad liberties. I mean, if you're going into like the OG or the remake Pet Cemetery, and then into the prequel that they did Bloodlines, it fits better. I think that universe actually fits better than what the original and its sequel was working with. But I do believe that they just took too many weird liberties, like they killed off the older sister in the remake instead of the youngest child. I don't know. So Pet Cemetery, the original, is my number 3. That's what I'm going with.
Well, my number 2. Actually, it's kind of funny that you bring that up because my number 2 uses the same thing that Pet Cemetery is about. That is Antlers.
Oh. Jimmy liked the Antlers.
I did. I thought that movie was very well done. I thought the acting was really, really good. Especially the child, the main character kid. Like, I thought he did very well. I liked the monster. I liked the design of the Wendigo. Or the Wendigo. I thought it looked really good. And I liked how it came to be.
Yeah.
Like how it sprouted out of that dude. And like he was still wearing the dude's skin for the face.
Yeah. It had some pretty good special effects. So yeah, Antlers was a pretty good one. That was a surprising one that just kind of popped in there. I think because
what, Jason? What just popped in there?
Well, I'm not talking Wendigos or. No, because see, I think I picked. I think we did Pet Cemetery first, and then Jeremy did Antlers.
Yep.
And the thing about it is that the Pet Cemetery books revolve a lot of, well, at least the book, because I think there was only one book. It revolved around a Wendigo, which is never really talked about in the movies. I think the remake did a little bit more with it, kinda, but the original never really got into it. And The Shed and Slacks, I think, was last year.
It was. Both of those were last year.
And yes, I did actually like The Shed. I actually go back and rewatch it again if I can. Yeah, no, Antlers actually did focus on the Wendigo as the main antagonist, and the way they handled it, and the way he showed up at the end of the movie and whatnot. It was very, very interesting to see, especially the transformation sequence. He kind of reminded me of something like The Fly, where you have like because it was practical, I believe.
It was.
So that's the best thing when you have like a practical transformation sequence and not like a digital CGI one. I'm always going to give it props to that. So props to that. That is it's yeah. So
All right.
But-
What's your number 2, Jason?
number 2. Ooh, okay. Here's a toss up. Okay. Number 2 is kind of going to have to be like my second first. Sadly, if that makes any sense, because there's just I'm gonna go. I don't know how I'm gonna hate doing this. I'm gonna go with Psycho.
The first one?
The
Wait.
original, yeah.
Then I think I already know your first one.
Okay, so Psycho. Psycho is definitely my second. Like I said, it ties very closely with the first one, but I think the only reason I really put Psycho in second is because it's something I've seen before. It's something I've experienced before, and the whole run of Psycho movies, okay, has been an up-down roller coaster since we started trying to do these movies, because I think we were having technical issues.
Yep.
We couldn't find the movies.
Holidays.
Holidays. It was because Psycho itself is a phenomenal movie, okay? And to have something like the Psycho remake come out, I mean, I could see what they were going with, okay? They were trying to do like exactly the same movie, just better looking, I guess, and it just felt off. And I think that just kind of tarnishes it just a little bit, because you're putting someone like Vince Vaughn in the place of Anthony Perkins, and we spent 3 movies with Anthony Perkins going up and down this emotional and psychological roller coaster, and then you just put Vince Vaughn in there, who's just this creepy. He is. I mean, you could argue the fact that Anthony Perkins plays kind of this perverted character in a sense, but his is so subtle about it.
No.
Vince Vaughn is not subtle about it.
Well,
He just bleeds icky.
so I want to do 2 things. First, for the number 1s, I want you to try and guess mine, and I'm going to try and guess yours. But
Oh, okay.
before we do, you don't have to worry about explaining why.
Wait, what was your second one?
What was my second one?
Yeah, did you do your second one? I thought you only did like 3 of them.
I did.
Maybe I just.
Oh no, Scream was 3. Oh, I don't know if I ever did a second one.
You didn't do a second one. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You did do number 2.
So, number 2. I think this is why I thought I did it. Scream 6.
Scream. Okay. What? So you like Scream 6 more than you like Scream?
I did.
Wow. Is that like the newest one?
Yeah, that's the one where it takes place in New York.
Okay. Why is that?
They upped the ante. by a lot. They kept the same Scream formula that made them big in the first movie and just did it bigger.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna agree with you on that.
I mean, just the scene in the gas station alone.
The scene in the gas station, the way they formulate, it's like a big giant roll. Okay, it's like a snowball.
Yep.
You start off with the original, and then the next what 4 films? So 1, 2, 3, and 4 all involve Sydney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sydney's backstory and all that stuff. And each movie picks up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Then we go into the, what do they want to call it, the somewhat remake. It's literally Scream 1, but with a new cast. But they tie in the effects of the old quadrilogy, right?
Yes.
Then they make Scream 6, which is a continuation of Scream 5, the remake,
/ sequel.
but adding
The requel.
all the previous stuff still. It's not like they just kind of said, okay, we're done with the Sydney stuff. Throw that to the side. They're continuing on while keeping some of the older stuff, but not hindering themselves to just the Sydney stuff. They're expanding. They're franchising, if you would say. And here's the thing. When they did that, when they did Scream 5, they pulled out one of the biggest, most decisive moves that they could possibly do. If anyone hasn't seen it, I'm going to give you about 4 seconds to mute yourself, or mute us, shut us off for about a minute or two, because I'm about to spoil something big. In Scream 5, they killed off Dewey.
Yeah, they did.
And that was something I had not been anticipating. And when I saw it, I hated it. But then I got to realize, I'm like, you have to do that. You have to make those steps. If you just keep bringing back the same 3 characters and they're just kind of safe throughout the series and that nothing ever is going to harm them, where's the drama? Where is your suspense? So they did.
I think, and we'll talk about it more when we get to it, but when you watch the new Halloween trilogy, well, that they made into a quadrilogy or whatever, they kill off like the parents of the final girl.
Yeah, I think throughout the movies they take them out one at a time.
And PJ's right. Dewey was never safe.
Yeah, I mean,
that man was stabbed more times than a pincushion.
But see, that's the thing. He got stabbed in the first one. He came back in the
second.
He got stabbed in the second one. He came back in the third one. So when he gets stabbed in this one, you're thinking, oh, God, he's going to make it to the end of this movie because we've seen this before. We've seen it over and over again. And then you realize he is dead. He's done. He's finished. So, like I said, I hated that. But then I got to realizing that's the steps you got to take if you want to continue something like that. And then they tried the same thing with Gail, right? They set her up to be killed in the newest movie. And I sat there when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be like a Star Wars all over again. Where are they going to kill off the old cast one movie at a time? But they didn't kill her. They had this whole big segment where they killed like the boyfriend or the security guard or whoever she was with at the time. Killed him. And then proceeded to attack her and almost kill her. But then she was rescued right there at the end. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, that right there is surprising. That surprised me. So they still know how to kind of keep it fresh.
Well, without any explanation, give me 2 honorable mentions
Two honorable.
of your favorites before we get to number one.
Oh, two honorable mentions. That is going to be two honorable mentions. Why don't you start with your first one while I'm going through my list here?
Jeepers Creepers, the original.
The original Jeepers Creepers.
Got an honorable mention. So,
I'm
Buck Hunter, just so you know, we have done the Jeepers Creepers series. He was.
Yeah, I saw. I was gonna actually respond to that.
So yes,
It
that's
was just at the top of my screen there for a second.
that is my first honorable mention.
My honorable mention, my first one is gonna be The Cleanse.
Okay, and my
Yeah,
second. Death Spa.
You know what? I'm glad. Well, I actually, you know what? I'm kind of upset that you knocked that one off the list.
You can put it on your list.
No, I'm not talking about on my list. We were talking about number ones.
You were gonna make it my number one.
I thought that was gonna be your number one.
I do have one more honorable mention, actually. So I have three. I did thoroughly enjoy Welcome to Raccoon City.
Okay.
It kept it really close to the games.
To an extent. I mean, the characters were, but I mean that's the thing.
Even the story was close to the first and the second. I think the biggest flaw with that movie is they tried to put too much into one movie.
Yes, and Leon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone wants to forget about Carlos Leon there.
So, what's your other honorable mention?
Oh God. Really. Really, I guess I'm just gonna have to say that Death Spa is probably my other
Honorable mention?
honorable mention because everything else has been. I mean, besides Psycho 2 and 3, I really did enjoy actually as a trilogy of films. Like I said, we never got to see Psycho, the beginning, the fourth movie technically, but it's actually a prequel per se, but it's not in the same timeline. It's like Psycho and then Psycho the beginning. It doesn't have anything to do with 2 or 3. So I think personally that trilogy is just a nice sweet spot of enjoyability. So of course nothing's going to compare to the first one, but yeah.
Well, if I had to guess what
God.
your number one is,
I have no idea what your number one's going to be, Jerry. This whole list is.
Late Night with the Devil.
Of course it is, Jeremy. Of course it was. And it's so funny because it's that movie itself. I was excited for before it came out. I saw the trailer for it. I was like, yes, I want to see this movie. I want to see this movie. I want to see this movie. I even thought I told you one time. I was like, Jeremy, you're like, you need to pick a single, and I was like, I got the single.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't even out. It wasn't even released yet. I was like, oh darn, it's not even out. I thought it was out. And then come to find out that when it finally got out and who's it and whatnot, it was my turn to choose again. I was like, Jeremy, I want to do this movie. And PJ's like, yeah, all right, watch that one. What the? And then I didn't even get a chance to watch it with you guys. I think you guys watched it.
No, you watched it with me. I never saw it until we watched it with you.
I thought I watched that one by myself.
No, you watched it again with us. You were there.
What was that? Oh, yeah, so I ended up watching it by myself, and then we ended up pushing it back a day, and we watched it again. But yeah, that movie was just, that movie's just so... The ending kind of lost me a little bit, but everything in there, all the practical effects, just everything about it was just so... And it was so funny. I started up, and it feels like an old 70s talk show.
Yep.
The way it's played out and whatnot. And of course, the behind the scenes segments, those are the ones that really kind of tie it together, so you kind of get get to see kind of what was going behind the scenes, but still. Oh God! So now I have to figure out what Jeremy's number one is. This is gonna be so bad. Here, Jeremy, is it a movie that we've may have that I picked already?
No.
No.
Oh wait, that you've already picked already?
Yeah, like on my list.
Yes.
One of my. Oh, it is. It is on my list. Okay. Ooh, that. Mm, mm. How about I'm gonna go with Psycho.
Nope.
No.
You want to know what it is?
Oh, is it Late Night with the Devil?
No.
Okay.
It's
what I said, we both
Freaky.
got- Oh, it's Freaky. That's your number one.
Yes,
You put that above Scream?
I did. Why? Because it used the same tropes as Scream, but did it better. Like it by adding it. Okay, let me rephrase that. It didn't do it better, but it did it in its own way by adding in other elements from everything else. Like you had the Scream stuff, then you had like the Halloween throwbacks, like all of the horror movie throwbacks,
Yeah, it had its series. I mean, like.
and then just the comical element of Vince Vaughn being in his element and having fun with it.
Vince Vaughn, I'm gonna tell you this. I haven't watched a whole lot of like Vince Vaughn movies, but the most Vince Vaughn I've seen is when he's in comedy.
Oh yeah, because it's usually across Owen Wilson.
Yeah. So when he is doing comedy, he's usually at his finest, which I think is why that hurts Psycho, because at least for me, I can't see him doing serious. Now, don't get me wrong, he's done serious.
He did it well in Jurassic Park.
Well, he even had a bit of comedy in that one. Just little touches of like little sarcastic, little
Yeah.
comedic bits. But you've seen him in like, what is it, the Domestic Disturbance? Is he in that one?
Yeah.
Or is that a different one? I always get those couple of movies mixed up. But you've seen him in some of his more serious elements, and I think that you would appreciate him more in Psycho because you've seen him at a serious. So you're like, yeah, I get this. And like I said, I'm not saying his performance in the movie was bad. Okay, if you're coming off as like if you're trying to make it darker, creepier kind of feeling, Norman Bates, he nailed it right on the spot. Completely put Anthony Perkins to shame in that department. But the reason Anthony Perkins was picked for it was because they wanted someone who had seemed friendlier.
Yeah.
Someone who didn't seem threatening. And I'm telling you, Vince Vaughn seemed threatening. I don't know. I walk in there and he pops out. I'm going, oh.
Well,
No, thank you. So.
let's start our least favorites.
Oh boy,
This one we're gonna have to go through a little quicker.
a little bit quicker. I mean, it doesn't matter if we run a little bit over. But
We're already at 40 minutes, homie.
that's because we talk so much about our favorites. Now we're just gonna be like, what's your worst movie? This. Why? Garbage. Garbage.
Well, number 5 for me is 3 from Hell.
I would agree with you on that.
I think it's a pointless movie that I didn't mind The Devil's Rejects too much. Like, I got what they were going for. It's not as good as House of a Thousand Corpses, but I see what they were trying to go with. But when you try to recreate it again and make the family again doing the exact same thing, where they're trying to make them seem even better than they are, even though they're terrible people.
Yeah, I think.
In The Devil's Rejects, it was two just terrible people going against each other. 3 from Hell, they tried to make them more personable, and it just didn't work. That, and it didn't have Sid Haig in it, and that kind of sucked.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm gonna agree with you. House of a Thousand Corpses was a surprising, I would say, midpoint movie for me. It's better. It's the best of all 3 movies. It was something kind of original, something kind of just out there and crazy. I don't have a problem.
Dr. Satan!
Jesus. I don't have a problem with a movie about bad people who do bad things, and then that's the movie. Yeah, they do some bad stuff, and by the end of the movie, that's it. It's done. You know. But then they tried to, then they did the Devil's Rejects, and try to make them seem like they're you kind of want to root for them a little bit. I mean, they're still bad people, but they're kind of trying to twist it like, oh, now they're having to go against this crazy sheriff who wants to kill them all and torture them and stuff like that. It's like I don't feel bad for them because that's what they do to people.
Yep.
What they do should be done to them. And then they have like the big dramatic shootout at the end and they all die. And if that was the end of the movie, that would be a decent duology. That's it. That's good. Great. They did bad things. You kind of and then they die in the end. They got what they deserved. The end. But then they came out with this one and they're trying to make them even more likable. And I'm just like, these are still awful people. They didn't learn anything.
Yep.
So
Number 5 for you, Jason.
Number 5 for me was, oh God, I'm just gonna go with like Jeepers Creepers.
The first one?
I'm gonna go with the last one on that one. I remember the first one, and it's just, for me, it's just an okay movie. It's not like one of the great ones. It's like, mediocre. It's, And the second one I remember pretty well because it's the school bus. All the high school kids on a school bus.
He liked to play peekaboo with the back window a lot.
The third one, I don't even remember the third one. I have no idea what happened in the third one. I don't remember the third one. And then the last one was like I don't even know what happened with the last one.
That's the one they were filming that it happened in the house.
Oh yes, it was the one where they went to that. It was supposed to be that Halloween convention, and it was just a bunch of hillbillies and shacks and stuff. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah, that one. That one was number. Actually, I should bump that one up a couple points because that was awful.
All right, number 4.
You want it from me?
Oh no, I got it. Resident Evil Retribution.
Oh yeah, that's the one that had the really bad Leon. I remember that one now. I remember that one now. See,
for some reason they can't seem to get Leon right.
I mean,
I'm literally playing Resident Evil 4 right now. I'm literally on the second to last chapter, and it just reminds me of how bad they've made Leon in all the Resident Evil movies.
I think the problem with that one is that it definitely was like.
It's also the fact that it takes place in Russia.
Oh, that's not the final Okay.
No.
No.
This is the one. Retribution has Leon. But you see, this is the one that Leon disappears. They fight on the roof of the building. And then in the next movie, none of it happened.
Yeah, they all come out on at the end of this movie, they all come out on the top of the White House. And it's Leon, it's Ada Wong, it's
Alice
Jill.
and Jill.
Yeah, and Claire, I think. Claire disappeared by that point too, I think. She was out of the picture too. Oh, okay, since we're going with that, I'm going to go with Resident Evil, the final chapter. Because they threw everybody out the door on that one. I mean, okay, so yours I can understand because the movie before that, they reintroduced Claire, they introduced Chris. And I'm going to tell you something. Chris in that one was played well. Okay, I'm not going to say he's great representation of the character, but he was performed well. But in the very next movie, he's gone. They disappear him. Him and Claire were captured by Umbrella, is what they said, and that was it. That's the last you ever see of him.
Oh yeah, that was the review that me and you, we both slicked our hair backs and wore sunglasses and came both looking like Wesker without even thinking about it.
Yeah. But and here's the thing, I'm gonna give the final chapter the worst one. Because not only did they introduce a really bad Leon in the movie beforehand, and then brought back Jill and Ada Wong, But by the time they get to the final chapter, they skip the whole battle scene that took place in Washington and got rid of all those characters.
They don't even mention it anymore.
And then they bring in a whole new set of characters, and none of them are based on any video game characters. It's like they just ran out of characters at that point. They're like, how many more characters can we put in a single movie and then get rid of them?
Yep.
So, yeah. The final chapter is my number 4.
Number 3. Scream 3.
Scream 3. Oh, my God.
Scream 3 is actually number 3.
I can see that. It's like the least exciting one out of the bunch. I know. Scream 3 is like it's like the stepchild of the Scream series. They bring in a brother that never existed beforehand. They never mentioned him beforehand, which I guess is supposed to be the surprise twist. Oh, it's it's like a half brother or something like that. But
the biggest thing that broke the camel's back is that stupid Dewey. He's got our voices.
yeah, the voice changing thing, it makes you sound exactly like somebody else. That is. Yeah, they could just stick with just like the normal ghost.
Look, they just started being able to do that in movies now using AI technology. And all they had to do was go to Ghostface in, the 90s.
Yeah.
And could buy it from Radio Shack.
Okay, my number 3. My number 3 is going to be. It's going to be the Psycho remake. I hate really putting Psycho. It's just strange that I would put Psycho and Psycho on the best and the worst. But there's just something about the remake that just gets under my skin. I think it's just the fact that I absolutely love Perkins's portrayal so much. And that roller coaster of a ride that we take with him. How he goes through his trauma in the first one, how he's trying to redeem himself in the second one, how he sinks back in because of the outside forces, and how it all culminates in the third movie, and how he gets sent back. How he gets caught in his breaking point and gets sent back. Vince Vaughn is just so. And don't get me wrong, it's some of the acting is just kind of okay too. I mean, it had a star-studded cast for, a movie like that, but it was just. I think the problem is that they didn't bring anything new. They just kind of went, oh, it kind of happens in like the 90s, even though she still looks like she's dressing in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, number 2, Death Spa. It made both lists.
Wow. So you got a plus and a minus on that one.
I loved the practical effects of Death Spa, especially when they blew her face off with the mirror.
Just the explosive mirror, and she just exploded like a yeah.
Or the dude who's like, yeah,
yeah.
But this movie itself and the story was garbage.
Yeah, Death Spa is one of those movies that's like, it's fun to watch. It's definitely like one of those sit around with friends, drink, and just hang out and laugh and whatnot. It's one of those movies. If you're looking for any sort of practical story, because I don't even remember what the story was, some sort of ghost in the machine.
Yeah, girlfriend or wife or something.
Yeah, dead lover in the security system
that controlled everything, including the fitness machines,
which is really weird to think. But yeah, everything essentially about the movie is low budget. And I'm not saying low budget's bad. You could have a lot of good low budget movies. I mean, look at Evil Dead, for example.
Yep.
But everything about it was just so silly. And I mean, I guess that's the good thing about it, is that it you don't have to take it seriously. It's a movie literally called Death Spa. So, yeah.
All right, Jason, what's your number 2?
My number two. Oh God, this is going to be difficult because a lot of these movies I really, really like, and some of them I really, really don't like. You know what? I'm gonna go with Valentine. I think that's just kind of a default right there at that point in time. Valentine's just kind of, well, as I completely forgot that we even did the movie. It's it's kind of I'm trying to even remember that movie probably came out after Scream, and it's just a masked killer movie, and it doesn't have anything real special about it. There's nothing real stand out about it. Um, I know it's got the guy from Bones in it.
Yeah, David Breen's.
And shocking, he's the bad guy. It's kind of like one of those mystery movies, like, ooh, who's the killer? Could it be like this boyfriend, that boyfriend, you know, that type of thing. It's kind of like a Scream per se, but not as fun. And nothing about it really stands out. There's no like really like crazy kills. It's just, a bunch of girls who bullied a kid in elementary school or middle school or whatever. And then he grew up and sought revenge on him and started killing him in his adult life. So, nothing real special there. So it just kind of defaults as my number two.
All right. So, two honorable mentions.
Oh, gotcha. I don't have any honorable mentions for this.
All right. Well, I only got one, and that's Pet Cemetery 2.
Okay. Honorable mention. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Three from Hell. And you
And
have another on. You got another one.
Valentine.
Valentine. I'm gonna go with The Descent 2.
Okay.
'Cause
Well,
I think just The Descent was a outstanding movie in of itself,
and then
especially
they
with
tie in the yeah,
with the surprise creatures at the end of the movie because you're not really thinking about it, but then in the second one you already know they're there. So
and then they add in the whole like Juno being alive thing.
yeah.
She's been down there hacking and slashing her way through everything.
I mean, I didn't put it as like one of my worst films because it does tie in to the first one pretty well. I think some of the leaps and jumps that they make in it to make sure certain characters stayed alive and I mean, you already know the creatures are down there and they're there from the get-go, so
Oh
it's
yeah.
not like any surprise like in The Descent, but yeah, it's still better than some of those other movies that I mentioned.
Well, my number one.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me guess. Ooh, actually, this could be kind of hard. Is it Psycho 3?
No.
Okay. All right, I don't know
You ready?
then. Yup.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the terrible story, pointless movie. Like, but the creme de la creme, the worst of the worst. There's two reasons. One, it got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And two, that terrible CGI green screen thing when they threw the pole off the roof and it stuck through him.
Yeah, that movie was like one of those sci-fi movies. I think
Literally, it was a movie you would watch on Sci-Fi. Heck, I think Piranaconda had better effects than that, and those Sci-Fi movies were pretty bad.
I think they relied too much on CGI because it's cheaper and faster to do it that way than to build the actual props and stuff for it. So, yeah, it definitely did feel like kind of just kind of a movie that was kind of put out there. Like, kind of reminds me of like Leprechaun Origins.
The other side of it is, the person who plays the creeper isn't the same. They had
No, and I don't.
they had the same actor for the first two.
And I think the actor or the creeper design in this one was entirely different too. He didn't look.
Yeah, he didn't have his like balding head, where he's just got like the little bit of hair like back here, where he looks like an old man.
Hey, Mr. Creeper, you got some balding going up on top there.
All right, so you're number one. Let me
My
see.
num-
Let me see. Ooh, this is gonna be a tough one.
I know there's plenty of bad movies that we ended up watching.
Is it The Devil's Rejects?
No,
Oh.
nope, no, it is not.
Is it Afterlife?
Nope, no, it is not.
No. I give up.
Pet Cemetery 2.
Oh, okay. I think I put that on my worst. I think it was like number 2.
No, yeah, I think it was honorable mentions. I
Oh
thought.
yeah, it was, and that's just the only reason it didn't make the list. The saving grace was the dead guy.
Clancy Brown.
His acting was great. I
See,
loved it.
Here's the thing about it, okay? And this is what makes the original. This is what makes the well. I mean, I can't even compare it to the original because the original is based off of the book to a very close extent. But the remake I thought was much better than 2, and Bloodlines. People are probably gonna hate me for this, but I liked it more than I liked Pet Cemetery 2, and I think that's because the remake and Bloodlines were made for the same universe. They fit very well together. You could watch Bloodlines and then you can watch the remake, and you could see it fit together.
I can see that.
You
It's
see the pieces fit there.
the other two don't.
The original and 2, even they throw in like little references in the second one to go, oh, the first one happened. It's not the same. It doesn't feel anything the same. And you know, I want to see that little baby from the original. I want to see him do what Clancy Brown does. I want to see him come back and act like an idiot. You know, but then again, you know, I guess the Wendigo just wants to make the baby look like a tap dancing whatever that was. But yeah, so Pet Cemetery 2.
Well,
Ta-da.
that is all of ours. Top 10. So you would mention, Jason, wanting to. There was some new stuff that you wanted to possibly bring in.
Yeah, I know I mentioned it like last year when we did our full year retrospect. I wanted to do some like streaming, try to start like a streaming day. I actually did about an hour's worth right before we got on here. The only reason I really didn't implement it last year was because there was a lot of personal stuff going on. There was a lot of moving around. The internet we had at the time didn't function very well. As you could probably tell, there was a lot of, you know, disconnects and stuff during the podcast. I'm hoping that we have that all alleviated because we've moved into our final location, as you can tell. We're going to be sprucing up the back here. So we got way better internet. I actually did some streaming, like I said, earlier this evening, and apparently it went off without a hinge. Okay.
So far, yeah.
So everything was good. So in the grand scheme, that's what I want to do. I want to try to implement. Maybe you and I can do like a Dead by Daylight night or something, and then I can do something solo like Dead Space or something like that. But that's just kind of what I'm thinking, trying to expand a little bit in that direction.
Oh no, I think it'd be fun. You know, I think it'd be cool. You know, there's a couple of other things that we have talked about doing. I know at one point we were toying with the idea of doing like little short YouTube videos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Doing reviews of different things, not just like the podcast, but like little things like that. So, you know, we do think there's some new stuff to be brought in. We're definitely going to be hitting some new movies next year. I'm not going to show the trailer today. I think we'll leave it for a surprise for next when
For a
we
movie
announce it.
For a movie on Monday.
For a movie we'll announce it probably this weekend at some point of what it is. But I believe it's your turn. You're starting off 2025, my friend.
2025, and I know I got a good one set up.
Series or a
Is that good?
solo?
No, this is the solo.
Okay.
Yeah, because because Psycho was my last series, and then I didn't have. We had so many troubles with that one that I didn't actually couldn't figure out a single, and then you did the freaky single.
Yep.
Freaky sing,
So you'll do your solo movie, and then
and then you'll go into your series. Jeremy, question for you before we go, and actually for anyone out there in the chat, if there was one movie, or
franchise.
one movie or one franchise, whatever, if you had to pick something that you wanted to watch and have us cover, what would it be?
Well, I know Clayton Buck Hunter wants us to do the Leprechaun franchise.
Oh God, everyone wants Leprechaun. That little.
Warwick Davis did fantastic. He actually directs that movie too.
Which one? The original?
Yeah.
Okay, so
See?
what are you saying? Are you saying Leprechaun? Is that what
PJ
you're saying?
is even saying Leprechaun.
Everyone wants Leprechaun.
In the hood.
No, keep him out of hood.
That's why he got back to the hood.
God.
I don't know. We still got classics to do. Like it's funny that we've been doing this, 2 years, and there's still a ton of classics that we haven't done yet. We haven't done the Texas series yet. We haven't done Alien or Predator. We haven't done Halloween or Hellraiser, Child's Play. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many classic series that we
That-
haven't even touched yet.
That's two of them that I wanna. That's two of them that I want to see. Hopefully, see this year, which is Child's Play and Alien.
So if we do Alien, you know what has to come next.
Yes, Predator.
Get to the chopper.
So we would
Do it now.
That would
Yeah.
be, that would be something like we did in the very beginning. That would be very retrospective of kind of our first series when we did Nightmare on Elm Street. Then we did Friday the 13th, and then we did Freddy versus Jason. Then we did the remakes after. And so it'll be like do the Predator movies, do the Alien movies, and do Alien versus Predator, or vice versa, do Aliens and Predators, and then do Aliens versus Predators.
And Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Oh God. Actually, I think that's a bad idea. Let's just scratch the. God, I hate that movie. I hate that movie so much.
It's funny. Predator, it did this weird thing. So you had Predator 1, Predator 2, then it kind of picked up a little bit, and then it went back.
Well, actually, I think it did kind. Oh yes,
The
it
Predators,
is
and then the Predator went down again.
Predator. The Predator is probably like the worst of the.
Yeah, but then Prey came out, and it was just
Yeah, I thought Prey was really good.
oh, I loved Prey.
I keep forgetting that there's so many Predator movies now.
I know
they
you only
just-
think
we
of
just-
two.
I think of three. I usually think of Predator, Predator 2, and then Predators.
Yeah, the one
usually-
with
I usually-
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, I usually forget the Predator. But then again, we got another Alien movie. We got a whole-
Romulus was fantastic.
we got Romulus that we've got to cover too. So we got a whole plethora of Alien movies too. Jesus, that's like
2025, the year we're gonna do nothing but alien movies.
sci-fi horror.
Oh yeah, because
There
you
you go.
also got the one with Ed O'Neill, or Sam O'Neill. I mean, that space horror movie that he's in, Event Horizon.
Is that a space movie or is that a water movie?
No, it's
that's a space movie.
It's a space movie.
Yeah, because that's the one that's very. Oh, I'm thinking of In the Mouth of Madness. That was another Sam Neill movie. Um, that was more H.P. Lovecraft.
But if you do, you know,
Yeah, so we got plenty of stuff we're gonna be able to cover. We'll try to mix it up a little bit. We'll see what the schedule looks like because you're talking at least a couple months just right there with Alien. Then probably a month of Predator, and then at least half a month of AVP. So you're talking at least 4 months right there just Alien movies. Then if you want to do Child's Play, Jesus,
yeah, just wait till Halloween.
that's 7 movies there. Yeah, so that's the problem with some of these franchises. They're just so long.
Yeah, we try to do them in spurts.
We may have to do them in we might have to do them in like pieces, some of them. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Go
Well,
big or go home, right?
we appreciate everybody that has either streamed, saw us on Twitch, done anything with the Facebook, which we'll be more active on the Facebook and stuff like that. Got a couple of ideas that I'm going to be toying with when it comes to social media. We didn't have any guests on this year, but I'm hoping we can change that next year.
Oh yeah, we got a Matthew Lillard. No, don't give me that. He was on. He was on the he is on the Dead Meat podcast. He says he doesn't do horror podcasts anymore, and there he is. I saw him. He was there.
Well, we will see y'all next week. Again, we appreciate it, and we're rolling into 2025 heavy duty.
Heavy duty. So Monday will be our first movie night.
Yep.
So movie night of the year. So let's hope, fingers crossed, guys, that I have no more mic issues since I got this brand new lovely mic over the holidays. So yeah.
All right, we will see y'all next week. Everyone be safe.
All right, you too. Later.